Welcome back, Deadites and Ghost Beaters, and if you're new to the channel, I am Oldhead Gaming, and it's been a long time. It's been actually 2 weeks prior to the launch of the 2013 update, which actually brought us our new characters since I've done a tier list almost 8 months ago. It's been a minute. So we've done nothing since then. I haven't really listed anyone, and so what I decided to do today, since we've had 7 characters drop since the last time I've done a tier list, it's time to do a brand new one. I'm even going to do a demon tier list because I've never done that one before, because here's the reason why. We've had a lot of players introduced to this game due to the free month it was on PlayStation, and now of course the launch of the Game of the Year edition has brought it to Steam, and other people are buying it because they can get everything all at once. And I think it's time you should know, in my opinion, where you should spend your time leveling and spending your spirit points, so you don't kind of level a character and then be like, man, this character kind of blows and I don't really want to play him. First, we're going to do the demon tier list. I didn't do one before because there was only 3 of them, so we're going to do that first. And then when we get to the survivor tier list, you're going to see their name of what rank they are, and then in parentheses what I had them last time. Now remember, it is going to be a little bit weighted due to the fact there is 5 additional survivors. So like, for example, if you were 13, which was dead last time, and you're 13 now, you've actually moved up 5 spots because you're no longer at the bottom. So if that makes sense, hopefully it's pretty clear. But first, let's do some demons.
You shall die! You shall never obtain the Necronomicon! We shall feast upon your soul!
Now, if you're playing Demon as a new player, just be aware that until you get to 45, it's going to be a rough road, and even sometimes you get that first prestige, it might even be even tougher. But let's do who is the best in the demon class, and we're going to start with number 5, and number 5 is going to be Warlord. Poor Henrietta definitely needs some sort of rework. She was amazing at launch. She's been going through some different changes in Nurse. She's still a freaking goddess at the book and can do a lot of damage, especially when you have everyone juiced up and you just swarm the book and you keep daisy chaining possession. That is like her strong suit, but it makes a very unfun play style because she's very hampered throughout the rest of the game. Number 4, Necromancer, which is just kind of an upgraded version of Henrietta, but you do get Flautist, which makes it a very strong ability if you can place well, especially like in places like Kandar. Like if you're at the dark ones on Kandar and they're at Castle Kandar and you can just stick your Flautist in there, you're gonna have a pretty good probability of winning, because one of 2 things can happen. The survivors are just gonna try to ignore it and you overpower them with swarms of army that are all juiced up on Flautist music, or someone's gonna keep going and you can try to kill them when they go into the castle, or you 3v1 the other ones that are not looking for the Flautist. So there's a lot of positivity, but he is a little map dependent, but he's still a pretty solid demon. Number 3, and it's going to be the last of the original demons, and that's going to be Puppeteer. Now, Elagos is pretty much the best all-around demon. He is very good at what he does. He's still great at the book. He's still good in early game. He never had his possession removed like some of the other ones did, so early game possession still exists. He's very solid and a safe play. Elagos has always been my favorite of the originals, and he's still kind of there. The brand new Demon Ball, and you're gonna say, Oldhead, you gotta put him over Plaguebringer, right? No, Plaguebringer's still number 1 in my book, and there's gonna be a reason. I'm gonna kind of compare and contrast the two. I think that Ball is a better early game, especially with his power where he can just massively level up by spawning and respawning traps everywhere. He's a really fun character to play. Probably hands down the most fun demon. I haven't prestiged a single demon, and he's just a smidgen away on me because I just really enjoy playing Ball, and he's kind of reinvigorated my love of playing demon in this game. But his book game is kind of weak, and he still needs some work there, which makes it really hard because if you don't get the 4K, you're going to be fighting in the book, and you're probably going to lose. Conversely, Plaguebringer is very strong in the book and also has a lot of things in her kit that makes her unique as well as the number 1 demon. First of all, Plaguebringer as a boss is very fast. It's very fast especially compared to Ball, who kind of is stationary and slow in the deliverance of attacks. She's very fluid. She's very fast, but she's adding Blight. Even Scream now affects the book, which makes her even stronger, and she was great on the book anyway. Plaguebringer is still, not by far, but, you know, right there, still the best demon. But if you decide you prefer to dive into the Ball tree, I completely understand. But both of those are very strong and very fun to play. And that brings the demons to a conclusion. There's only 5 of them, so it's not a very long list. Now, like I said before, remember, there was only 13 survivors the last time I did one of these because I just haven't done one after they added. I figured we've gone through 4 content drops that have brought us 5 characters at this point. It's probably time I do one. And now it's time to do the survivors. And remember, like I said before, there is 5 more of them now, so there's going to be a little bit longer list than the original 13. Coming in is number 18. Pablito. Sorry, Pablo, but you are by far the worst character in the game. He definitely needs a buff. His healing is insufficient compared to others. And yeah, he can create amulets, but like that's about all he can really do. Now, if you are a solo queue player, I completely understand why you play Pablo because you're looking to map rush and just try to get out of this match as quickly as possible while gaining points. Coming in at number 17, Ed Getley. God, I love Ed. I really do. Ed's my boy. He's the funniest character in the game. He just needs a kit rework. It's a fact. Unfortunately, Ed is, yes, the light is a great ability and maybe a little more viable now that Ball is such a trap-heavy demon, but he still does pretty weak damage. The crossbow is one of the more annoying weapons to use. It's very slow. Even with his quote-unquote ability to load it faster, it still had been nerfed. It used to be much quicker at launch. His loot luck is kind of all over the place. He just kind of needs a kit rework, and hopefully he gets one because Ed is just a lot of fun to play because he's just funny as shit. And coming in at number 16, our first leader on the team, and that's going to be Annie. Annie is just insufficient compared to the rest of her brethren in the leader squad. Yes, the bounce bar is nice. Yes, they fixed her that she is now affecting her teammates with her abilities, but she's just a little bit lacking compared to the rest of them. And as much as I like Annie, she is fun to play, especially if you're running a hunter group. She just doesn't seem to be moving in the right direction at this point. Number 15. Amanda, our first hunter. Yes, ammo for days is a great ability, and if you have a gold blunderbuss, you're going to waste everything. But she is also just a little bit lacking in her additional skills. Unfortunately, they gave her pistol mastery, which is the worst of the handheld weapons, and you can find like a gold blunderbuss compared to a gold pistol is not even close in damage. So they kind of gimped her in the ability she has in the first place. Yes, ammo for days is great, but Amanda's probably the worst hunter on the roster right now. Coming in at number 14, Cheryl. Cheryl is, let's be honest, Cheryl has been hated by Saber since she launched and received multiple nerfs, delay on her ability. Yes, she still can carry 8 Shemps, so she has that ability, and it comes in handy really in solo queue where people are just wilding out there. But if you're playing in a group composite with your friends, or like on our stream, you're playing in a match on community night, she is just lacking in a lot of places. Yes, she can heal, but her kit overall is kind of weak sauce, and she's just not the best support. Like, when the game launched, she was kind of an argument with Sash, but Sash has been worked so much better, he's just kind of left her in the dust. Coming in at number 13 is Kelly. Now, Kelly has gone up and down the list. She's been number 1 when she was broken to now kind of near the bottom tier. So she does have an okay ability where she can activate like infinite stamina, which also she can do bleed damage. But overall, she's just kind of a better version of Pablo. She has a great lone wolfing abilities. She's really good on stamina, but she just doesn't cut it. Her damage is a little lacking compared to other hunters, and she's just kind of all around. So she's a safe play and fun to play, but she just doesn't keep up with some of the other characters. Coming in at number 12 is another character who's just kind of been slowly sliding down the list, and that's Henry the Red. I love Henry. Henry's fun to play. His ability, invincibility, was great, but let's be honest, Reflection's terrible. You don't get the bang for your buck on those amulets. And now that there's another character who has a different version of invincibility, but with a better kit, it just keeps pushing him down for what he was good at. He was that clutch guy that could do some pretty solid damage and then grab someone if necessary, but he doesn't boost the rest of the group, and he doesn't keep up with some of the others. Coming in at number 11 is our first additional character. Now, as you can see, everyone that was from 18 to 12 was an original character. None of the DLC characters that have been brought out were in the bottom tier. So basically it's showing now that the newer characters are going to be more solid. And at number 11 is Blacksmith. And people are going to say, what? Blacksmith didn't make the top 10, and there's a reason. Yes, crafting is huge, but it's also completely wild. You have no control over what gets crafted. You have no control over what it spits out. I've had matches where people have crafted twice and brought out 2 gold saw guns. Like, who the hell wants a gold saw gun? So there's problems with crafting. He is a lot of fun. He's super tanky. His ability to survive is great. His amulet ability kind of relegated poor Pablo into non-existence, because the fact that you can just basically reuse them if they don't shatter has made him very solid. His healing is not as high as some of the other healers, and but his damage is really good. Now, the fact that he cannot use a ranged weapon does hinder sometimes, especially now with the way Ball's possession is. There's a lot of people getting picked and they just go straight for a blacksmith, and that's completely understandable. So he's going to round out the bottom tier at number 11. Going into the top 10 now is our boy Scotty. Now, Scotty is kind of hung around like from middle to back tier, and right now the fact that Scotty is so good at the book and they've kind of boosted his ability has made it even better. He's just kind of that safe play. Scotty is one of those characters that he just kind of doesn't really hurt you. If you get a lumberjack axe, he's going to do a ton of damage. If you have a gold lumberjack axe, look out, poor demons. He's just kind of the safe play. Number 9. You're going to be surprised because my boy David Allen right here. Now, you all know, if you've watched the stream, I'm a David Allen main. I play him all the time. I'm almost Prestige 3 with him. And he's just a lot of fun to play. They did kind of gimp him a bit. He would be higher on this list if they didn't basically make you have to prestige him to get all of his abilities back to where he was coming out of the box when the 2013 update dropped. His ability of Soda Pop is always helpful. So every time you drink, you're going to reduce damage. Also, Fire is really good. He's much better, though, with a Ruby, because Fire just takes way too long to reset. I don't understand why they have it on such a long cooldown. It's kind of the same with Cheryl's ability. They did not really need to gimp it that much, but, you know, c'est la vie. Coming in at number 8 is the other Allen, Mia. So now we're starting to get some of those new characters. Mia Allen is a pretty solid warrior, but she is very, very, very double-edged sword. You're going to have to keep fear high to maintain her damage, while at the same time you have a high chance of getting possession, because you can only avoid it when you pop your ability. She does a shit ton of damage, so there's no argument there, but she is a kind of a double-edged sword that if you're playing with randoms, you're probably going to get killed by her a bunch of time. If you're playing with your own team, you can kind of manage her a little bit better. She is a bit of a wild card, but she is a solid warrior. Number 7. My boy, Lord Arthur. I loved Arthur. Coming out of the beta, he was, in my opinion, the best character other than AOD, which there was an argument to be made, and he's just gone through so many random transitions. Like, he went from the super booster when he was broken to nothing working and Wrath being broken. He's had so many versions of Arthur. Right now, I think he's not in a bad spot, and especially with other leaders right now, he's pretty solid. Putting him right near number 7, you're seeing a lot of melee base now versus range base, so he does give you those double boosts on both your lights and heavies. He's a lot like Scotty, just a safe play, but due to his leader ability, makes him a much more enticing pick. Number 6, the king of the hunters, and that's Hash. There is no way any of the original hunters are going to hold a candle to Hunter Ash. ED2 is just the best. Exorcism, such a good ability. He does a lot of damage with the best ranged weapon in the double barrel being his specialty. And he's just a really good play. You can't go wrong with playing Hunter Ash if that is the class you enjoy to play, and he's just superior to every other hunter. Now, of course, if we get new hunters with unique abilities, he might fall off that ladder, but let's be honest, he's been sitting the best hunter other than when Kelly was wicked broken, was continually stacking since the game launched. Number 5, our brand new character, Brock Williams. Brock Williams is a very versatile character, and his aura is very unique with the fact of how it fluctuates between, well, how many Williams and non-Williams, how many hunters, warriors, etc. And he also is very good at fitting into literally any group. Also, his ability to avoid knockback, it's a lesser version of Henry's invincibility, but is very, very good, especially with the full kit that he has. Also, he has such deep pockets, he can carry extra shems and amulets. He's just basically always got something for the group. Like, if someone calls out, I need long ammo, you're probably going to have a Brock that's just going to spit out a shit ton of it. So he's really versatile, and he's very solid to play. Like, he's just a very strong pick. And that's going to bring us to the top 4. And as you've noticed, the Ashes have been kind of missing other than Hunter Ash at number 6. So you're going to see a lot of them in the top 4. And coming in at number 4, Leader Ash. El Jefe is just a rock solid play. He has been for a long time. And he's just better now, especially when you pair him with Brox. You basically just mitigate fear into non-existence. And he's just always a good play. He reduces fear with his aura. El Jefe Grande on it just keeps boosting damage as you do on takedowns. And he's a really good character to play. Number 3, the king of the supports. As much as I love David Allen, Sash is the best. Support Ash, ED1 Ash, whatever you want to call him, is the best support in the game, and my number 3 character. If you're going to play support, he's the best place to start. His abilities to constantly be leeching is just solid. Like, you're always, even if you don't have Shemp's ability to keep returning health to your team, whether you're playing with hunters and you're doing headshots, or you're playing more with a warrior based melee class setup, you can still do the heavies and just keep returning. As long as you have a strong weapon and you're doing a ton of damage, you're going to keep returning health. And he's just really, really good. He has a strong kit, not to mention his ability to reduce fear constantly is a solid cooldown. It's not an ability that's been nerfed in the ground with extended cooldowns. And he's just so good. Support Ash, top 3 play. Absolutely. And to be honest, should be the first support chosen. Number 2. My perennial number 1 has been knocked off the list. AOD is still just ridiculous. Like, Army of Darkness Ash, Warrior Ash, whatever you want to call him, is just the chosen one. And he just is a damage machine. You give him a gold chainsaw and look out. Wiseman's is still one of the best abilities in the game. It returns health, it reduces fear, it increases damage. Like, there's not a lot to dislike about AOD. Sure, he could use another dodge or 2, I guess, but he's always returning shields and takedowns, and he's a takedown monster, so like, it's not really a problem. What else do you want from a warrior? Like, when they built the warrior class, they kind of broke it with AOD. Finally, number 1, Ruby. Ruby is just the best character in the game. It's not even close. And even after her fix, she's still wicked good. Like, she is just awesome. Her ability is great. Let's be honest, soul, you just consume souls and then return it to everyone as damage and healing. Like, so she can be an off healer for a group that doesn't require to use a Shems. Her aura is just absurd. As you keep leveling up, you get, damage reduction, you get quicker cooldowns, and that really comes in handy for other characters, especially characters that have a little bit of longer cooldown, like a David or ED2 Ash, where their cooldown length is longer. Even Henry with his cooldown, like, everyone around Ruby just gets infinitely better, and she's the best character in the game, and the best leader, and the best everything. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't play Ruby. Like, her weaknesses are minimal, other than the fact that she can't use an amulet, but she's always naturally regenerating. So she's regenerating stamina, she's regenerating health. Like, she kind of does it all in one perfect package. And of course, it makes sense, the fact that she is a Dark One, that Ruby would be the best character in the game. But they're going to have to do something if they're going to try to knock her off the podium, because I feel like she's probably going to be there for quite some time. And there it is, both a demon and a survivor tier list, especially since we've added a bunch of new characters and there's a bunch of new players. I feel like everyone should have an idea what I'm thinking currently. Now, of course, let's be honest, tier lists are highly subjective, so you may not agree at all, or you might find my list is pretty much similar to yours. But if you're new and you have questions why I chose X player over Y player, I know I kind of gloss over here on these tier lists, feel free to drop a comment. If you just think my list is dog shit, feel free to drop a comment. If you want to learn more about the game and you're new, feel free to join the Discord. The link is in the description as always. And I want to hear your thoughts about whatever. I always answer my comments. As always, thanks for watching, and later, mates.